Welcome to Brighter Rays. This is a study called Ceaseless Prayer, and we're looking at Colossians 1, 9 through 14. Charles Spurgeon once said, "I would rather teach one man to pray than 10 men to preach." He had such an awareness of the importance of prayer in the life of a believer. He would also say, if any of you should ask me for the epitome of the Christian life, I would say that it is one word, prayer. We who have read and studied the scriptures know that prayer has a place, a very important place in the life of a believer. We know the place that it has. It is true. It is the true gauge of spiritual health. Now, is this one man's opinion, or is this what the Bible teaches? Much of what Spurgeon says about prayer can be learned by reading the many passages that teach us about prayer. As we read in the passage prior to what we'll look at today and this week, a part of prayer is giving thanks to God. As we continue, Paul will tell the Colossians that Paul's fellow co-workers, and he do not cease to pray for them. Not only that, but he also gives the contents of his prayers. We learn much about prayer from hearing what the apostles have prayed for. We also learn a lot about prayer from Jesus. In fact, one of his disciples said to him, "Lord, teach us to pray as John taught his disciples." What was his teaching on prayer? Well, it's what we know as the Lord's Prayer. In Matthew chapter 6, we have the Lord's Prayer, as well as some instructions on what not to do and what to do when you pray. With all this teaching on prayer, you would think that no one would be confused. Yet if you were to pick up a handful of books on prayer from the Christian book catalog, you would find books that would absolutely contradict each other. Why is that? Is it that we have such confusing and difficult instructions on prayer? Is it because God forgot to tell us exactly how to pray to Him? No, the confusion comes because people will always rebel against the truth. They don't want what the Bible has to say. They want their itching ears scratched, and will gather around themselves teachers that will tell them exactly what they want to hear. And where there's a market, there are sure to be those that will swoop in and make a profit. The false teachers love to corrupt the idea of prayer and make it into a money-making scheme. Even many of our well-meaning brothers and sisters have latched on to these ideas that aren't in Scripture, and it's to their detriment. They build a whole theological framework around faulty premises. Because prayer is so important, we ought to be on the lookout for all kinds of false ideas. Because where you have important doctrines, you have false ideas come in to try to corrupt those doctrines. So as we approach our text, we need to check our ideas about prayer against what Paul says. He's going to talk about two things to pray for: knowledge and power. And then he returns to the idea of praying with thanks. So thanksgiving is all over prayer. But he wants to pray about knowledge and power. And he's going to pray about knowledge and power in a biblical Christian way, not what the false teachers say. And you'll see that as we go through. So this is the plan for this week. We're looking at these verses here. Next time we'll start with Colossians chapter 1, 9 through 10. So come back for that.